Alright, what's going on, you guys? Now, I did do a video on this fight. I didn't know where to go with it, you know, and I know I'm late now. It's been a few days since the fight and everything, but I haven't had time to make a video on it. But, you know, I did make a video on this fight. I didn't know where to go with it, you know. I pretty much broke it down, but staying neutral on this fight, you know, because there's still a lot more I want to see from both fighters. You know, Groves obviously more seasoned. Obviously, as far as fundamentals go, he's the more talented fighter between the two. And now that we've seen the fight, you know, the outcome. But even going into the fight, you know, Groves was, you know, had the better technique, and I thought he was the more skillful and, you know, the more experienced between the two, right? But then you have Eubank Jr. You know, he has shown that he has some good power. Looks to be, you know, pretty strong fighter. And he seemed to be improving a little bit, you know. So I just wasn't sure, you know. I wasn't sure. I thought that Groves can have easily outboxed him, which he did. But, you know, I thought that him, at some point, he might have went for the knockout, and Eubank might have, you know, caught him slipping and knocked him out, you know. I just didn't know where to go with the fight. You know, I wanted to see the fight just for me to get a better understanding of the both of them, you know. And Eubank Jr. never was like crazy big fan of him, you know, on his channel. Even back when, you know, before leading up to the Billy Joe Saunders fight, I knew he was going to lose that fight. I predicted him to lose that fight. I thought Saunders was clearly the more gifted fighter, but Groves beat him even better than Saunders did, you know. Eubank, straight up, like, he got exposed. He got exposed in this fight, and I think there's no ways around it. You know, all of this talking that he does, it's cool, it's entertaining to some, not to me. You know, I used to watch him fight and beat up guys and stand over them like he did something special. You know, like the last fighter he fought in the tournament. You know, he stood over his opponent like he did something special. You know, I just never really was that impressed when he finally got exposed. And it's not even like I wasn't rooting against him or anything. You know, I mean, he's okay. But, you know, all that talking and all that showboating he does, you know, obviously he's trying to, you know, he wants to be like his father. He's inspired by his father, and that's cool. But his father had skills. You know, Eubank Sr. was a lot better, you know. He was a lot, at least in my opinion, you know, he was a lot more talented than his son. You know, his son just doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. And this is the issue, and this is what I was bringing up with the Deontay Wilder stuff. You know, he's not a guy that I see, he doesn't seem to be working on much. Like, he, you know, I think he's improved some, but it's like, it's hard to tell if he's really improving if he's not fighting really good fighters. You know, he's not really stepping, he hasn't really stepped up to me. You know, he fought Saunders, and then he moved up, and he picked up a title, and now he's fighting Groves, and he gets dominated. You know, I know the Saunders fight was a lot closer, because the thing about Saunders is that he slows down. You know, he's always had stamina issues, except in his recent fight against Lemieux. But Saunders seems to be on top of his game now. You know, he seems to be taking the sport more seriously, and that's good for him. But as far as, you know, back then, you know, Saunders was clearly outboxing him, and Eubank just used his size and his weight to, you know, impose his strength on top of Saunders. And Saunders was slowing down, and it became a close fight. You know, Saunders still won, but it was closer than, you know, what I expected it to be and how it was going in the first half of the fight. You know? But see, in this fight here, now you're moving up. Now you're fighting the bigger guys. And you're a big middleweight, but you're not a big super middleweight. You get what I'm saying? And you go up there, and Groves is the bigger guy. And, you know, you feel Groves' power. And then you're losing. You're getting outboxed from the outside easily, because he can't box for shit. You know, the dude can't box like that, man. You know, and he goes and do the same thing he normally does in a fight when he's behind and he's getting outboxed on the outside. He just goes and jumps in on the inside, leave himself way open, sloppy, and just throwing uppercuts. you know, pushing the guy against the ropes. We see him do this all the time, and I'm like, he doesn't even look skillful while he's doing it. He looks very sloppy while he's doing it. Like I said, he leaves himself open. And it's like, he does this all the time, you know? Now, the last guy he was fighting in the tournament wasn't that good, so he was able to use a jab, and he was comfortable. It looks like he was trying out new things, you know, in that fight. You know, he's trying things out in that fight. You know, he was able to outbox his opponent in that fight, because for him to outbox that guy, it really wasn't that hard for him to do, because the guy he was fighting wasn't that good. But now when he's fighting a real fighter, a real boxer, you know, a guy that's known to have skills, you have to resort to just jumping in and leaping in and throwing these uppercuts, holding in the back of the head and throwing uppercuts, because you can't fight. You know, you're fighting like a street fighter. You know, and I'm just like, yo, this dude is yo, he needs to change. He needs to, you know, and I know people have been saying this. And I heard him say something about the weight. You know, something he was, one of his excuses was the weight. And I'm like, well, you would go back to 160 and go right back to outboxing bums, and then when you step it up, you're gonna just go and leap in and start just being the stronger man? Are we gonna go back to that? No, dude. You need to change your training, your team, whatever you're doing. Either change your team or change it, whatever it is you're working on. You gotta change that. You gotta change that, brother, because it's not working out for you. And stop using this weight thing. The weight thing, you see, you know, you guys know me. If you guys follow me, you know I'm not a big weight person. You know, I like to talk more about skills. But this dude, weight is a major factor in his fights. And you see here, you know, in the Lemieux fight, he can use his weight. You know, I mean, not in the Lemieux fight. I mean, the Saunders fight, he can use his weight a little bit. But now you're fighting a George Groves, a guy that got more skills than you, but you can't weight bully him. You know, whenever he was trying to do it, Groves just push you off, you know, holding you tight, you know, tying one arm up, and he was just trying to go with that predictable uppercut you do every time. It's like, dude, is that all you got? You got to change it up. I know that's your pops, but sometimes you got to switch trainers. You got to do something different, because, you know, he has potential, but you got to change something. You know, we watch you train, and we watch you hit the mitts, and you go into the Mayweather gym, and, you know, you're doing some nice fancy mitt work and everything. That's cool and everything. But no, you need a complete makeover. Like, seriously, you're still young. Yo, let this fight humble you. Don't blame it all on the weight. Don't just drop weights and think you're going to do it. Because now 160, you got guys. It's not like how it was when you left 160. 160 is crowded right now. You know, I just did a video on that recently. You don't just have Golovkin and Jacobs. You know, you got Canelo there. You got Saunders. He's doing his thing. You lost to him already, right? You got Charlo there. You got Andre there. These are guys that got skills, much far better skills than you. And even if you're a little bit bigger, it's not going to really matter, because these guys got skills, you know? They got skills just like Saunders did when he beat you. So I'm like, yo, what are we going to keep? Why are we going to keep blaming it on the weight? You know, this dude got to seriously humble himself. You know, I know that's an act. I know it's good because you get people wanting to view. It's good as far as getting the attention and everything. It's cool. But when are you going to go in the gym and start working on new things? Because every time I see this dude, he's the same exact fighter. All the flaws are still there, you know. And when you're not even fighting the real fighters that you know, you're fighting guys like Arthur Abraham, who at one point, yeah, he was a top super middleweight. But you know what? His game, he's not only is he older, but his style, you know, he's a guy that just covers up, and tries to explode every once in a while. You know, that's a guy that you could beat, especially if you're young and powerful, and, you know, you have the volume. It was easy for him to beat him. It's easy to, that's just a name. But in reality, the styles didn't match up well for Arthur Abraham. So it looks impressive to people because he beats a guy with a name. But at the same time, if you really look at it from a stylistic standpoint, it was a terrible matchup. It was a terrible matchup. It was an easy matchup. So it's like, yo, how long, you know, are we going to lose and look embarrassed every single time he steps up? It's time for him to really step his skill set up, you know? You know, it's time. It's time. You know, this was an embarrassing performance. I only had him winning like 2-3 rounds, man. That was an embarrassing performance, man. That was an embarrassment. So, you know, I mean, you know, I listened to some other people. You know, I was listening to Hatman. Hatman had a good video. You know, I listened to a couple of channels, but yo, I mean, like, somebody needed to really express this weight thing. Like, we really look at his fights, because I've seen him fight more than enough. I've seen him fight before Saunders. I've seen him fight after, and I see the same flaws, and I see the same attitude, and I'm like, is this for real? I don't even think it's real. I don't even think he's as confident as he's putting it off as. I think he's having that bad guy mentality, you know, that bad guy, that character, in order just to get the attention. And it's cool if you winning, but if you're not winning and you out here getting outboxed like that, dude, it's time to change up something, man. This ain't no hate video. This is a real truth video, man. I ain't trying to hate on him, man. I want him to get better, because I think he's like, people like him, it's good for boxing. Like, people like to watch him. You know, people are like entertained by him. So that's good. You know, he's not doing anything crazy. He's not getting in any kind of trouble. So that's good. But I just want to see him get better. And I think the truth, like, people got to really start breaking down the truth to him. And the truth is, he needs to change up his training and get more. We need to see more skills from him. It's time to put on the skill set and make that better. Right now, he's just a guy that's really strong and can take over and be explosive. But if he's not overpowering his opponent, and his opponent is better, you know, more gifted as a boxer, he's not going to look too good. And we've seen that 2 fights now. All right. So anyway, you know, this video is not really about George Groves. I mean, George Groves, you know, he had his wins. He was the first to beat DeGale. You know, he lost to Carl Froch, but Carl Froch is a great fighter. You know, he lost to Badou Jack. A lot of people thought Badou Jack lost that fight. I remember watching that fight. I remember Badou Jack was winning early. He dropped Groves, but I do remember Groves coming back, and I did think the fight was very close. I haven't seen that fight in a long time, but I did think Groves did come back. All right, I thought that was a very close fight, a fight that I thought could have been a draw that night. All right, but Groves is good, and you know, I still have questions about him too when he steps up. But this wasn't a step up for him. You know, this guy got exposed, and I'm not trying to take nothing away from Groves. It was a good win and everything. It's definitely a good win. He was the guy to do it, and he did what he had to do. And I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but you know, I think the division overall is a little weak. I hope his injury is not too bad. I hope he's able to fight in the finals and everything. But I still have my questions about him. But it was a good performance from him. All right. So I'm going to end it there. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe, all right? Got more videos coming on the way, all right? Peace.